Hey guys, what is up? It is Bibsy7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here. Today, going to be talking about the Magister boss release in this one and what my opinions are of it, as well as a little bit of my progress. Wait, did I just see? Holy shit! IDK How to Die just died in Hardcore Iron Man mode with a skill total of 2510 fighting against Araxi. That is crazy. Wow, poor guy. I feel for him, especially having my my hardcore Iron Man with with quite a high total. I definitely feel for the guy. That's unfortunate. Probably pretty high on the high scores, and just took the death. But yeah. Anyways, I am gonna be just doing the rat catchers quest while I make this video. So if you don't want to watch that, if you don't want to suffer with me, then you can just listen. But yeah, I am doing this quest because I did one inventory of urns at Living Rock Caverns gold mining, and then I realized I should really get the Varrock armor at least level 2 from the medium task set in order to make it so I occasionally get double gold when I'm mining there, because it would help my experience and everything. And for that I need to do this quest, as well as a couple others. I actually have to do this quest. I also have to do a Soul's Bane, and I have to do Enlightened Journey. So kind of sucks, but it is good to get quests out of the way, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the lower levels of the task system, because some of the things are just so freaking annoying and pointless. But yeah, that's basically it. Still buying my skilling supplies, of course, in the GE. I've finally gotten some dragon leather to come in. About half of what I need has come in. Fletching supplies still taking quite a while. Of course, as the limits warrant, they will take quite a while. I mean, I can only buy, I think it's 60k broad arrowheads per day based on GE limits. So that's going to just take at least 10 days, or maybe even 11 days to come in, just if they always buy right when the limit resets. And then my oak planks are still buying as well. They're taking a little while, but I think my price might be a little bit low on them. Might have to up it in the future if I actually want to get them in. But yeah, I also have started my farming. I did 2 farm runs so far, one yesterday and one today. Gotten myself already up to 77, so 3 levels so far. Get quite a bit of XP from farm runs, and the levels will go by really quick once at the moment, until I get up into like the 80s and everything, where it does start to slow down quite a bit. But I'm gonna try and remember to do those every single day to make sure I get my 99 farming done quickly as possible without missing any days, and then having to wait on farming in the future to to be one of my remaining 99s. But yeah, just doing this stupid quest. I really hate it. Unfortunately, I only have a kitten, because for one of the tasks in the medium set, you actually have to get a new kitten by talking to Gertrude, and I got rid of my cat before realizing I had to do this quest, because I'm an absolute moron. But either way, it definitely is a problem that I have to use a kitten for this quest, but I'm just going to have to deal with it. I really can't be asked to wait and get the kitten up to a cat again. It's just a waste of time. I'm just going to do the quest and get it over with. Regardless, though, I am going to be talking about the Magister boss now. And in my opinion, the boss fight itself seems pretty good, not too bad, nothing too special really. I mean, it's kind of just a DPS fest. A lot of the people that are doing the boss at high levels and are doing it quickly with high level gear just straight up ignore the boss's so-called mechanics with the soul obelisk and the minions he spawns. They just straight up ignore that and just do a DPS fest to kill the boss as quickly as possible. So it's okay, I guess. I mean, it's kind of, I guess I would make it similar to God Wars Dungeon 2 in that regard, but even then, I'd say most of the God Wars Dungeon 2 boss have some mechanics you have to pay attention to, but here there is no such thing. You just straight DPS and ignore mechanics. So, it's kind of akin to a lower leveled boss, like maybe KBD or Calfight Queen, things like that, where you just take the damage and DPS the boss to get the kills. And I don't know, that's it's up in the air whether that's a good thing or not, but it's definitely interesting, and you can get some really fast kills there, so that's good. No like long slog of a fight similar to like Telos would be, but I obviously haven't been able to kill the boss myself. I don't have the Slayer level required, which is 115, but you can easily do it with 109 Slayer because the Wilder Pie boosts you 6 Slayer levels, and it acts similar to an Overload in that it does not decrease for the whole, I think it's 5 or 6 minutes, so definitely good to use those if you have the only 109 Slayer, but obviously I do not have even close to that, just the 99 Slayer, but I am planning on getting it up in the future at some point. I would like to make a cool series of 99 to 120 Slayer, making a nice big loot tab and everything like that. I think that could be cool to watch and do for myself, so maybe in the future I will do that. But yeah, I cannot kill the boss myself, so this is all my comments on the boss are coming from what I've seen. My friend Alex killed the boss quite a bit while I was watching him, so that gave me some good first-hand type of experience. But everything this is just from what I've seen on Reddit, as well as the RuneScape wiki and stuff like that on the boss itself. Nothing of my own experience, but in my opinion, the boss is a little underwhelming in terms of the fight, because I figured it would be a little bit more. There will be a little bit more mechanics involved, but instead you can just ignore them in DPS, which I guess, again, like I said, that's a little up in the air as whether that's good or not. But regardless, the drops are quite bad, especially if you bought the keys before the update or right when the update came out. They're similar in price, honestly, to the Legios bosses, and I don't really know why they decided to go with the key mechanic once again for this boss. I don't really remember anyone saying that they particularly liked doing the keys at Legios. I mean, you're basically killing the boss to lose money, which I've never liked Legios for that reason. I've always been much more in favor of things like QBD, stuff where you get consistent money, racks. I've loved bosses like that a lot more than like Legios, where it's basically like a gamble. Like if you go to Legios and you get really lucky, you can make a lot of money really quick, but you have to get really, really lucky to make a lot of money really quick there, just because it's 6 separate drops, which is the main problem, I think, as well as the main problem with this Magister boss, because the way that you get the tier 90 weapons is kind of strange and convoluted as to what you might expect, and as to what most other bosses are like. Like most other bosses, actually almost I think every other boss in the game that drops components of a weapon, you get the piece of the weapon as the drop, and then once you have all the pieces, you can make the weapon. This boss, it's a little different. It's kind of weird. Basically, the boss drops like an urn type thing, which you can then smash to get scraps of cloth, which can then be made into one of the 3 pieces of the weapon. So I really don't know why they went about it like this. Like the fact that they have the urn, like the urn is kind of pointless almost. Like why doesn't it just drop the scraps of cloth to begin with? I don't know. And then on top of the fact that you have to get the urn as a drop, the number of scraps of cloth you get can range wildly from 2 all the way up to 25, and you need 300 to make a full weapon. So it is really weird. It's like RNG, like to the second degree. Like you have to get the RNG to get the urn drop to begin with, which isn't that rare, but then you have to smash it, and if you only get 2, it's like rip you are pretty much gonna be out of luck for that. Like you really kind of get screwed over if you end up getting 2. So obviously in the long term it will average out, but I still think it's definitely not the best system, and I really wish they had just gone with something like either it drops the pieces straight up, rarer than of course the scraps would be, or they should have either done that, or they should have just made it so that you could get the scraps as the drops themselves and it was a consistent number, I guess, if they really wanted to. I don't know. I don't really like the way they did that, and that leads it into being more of a consistent style of moneymaker rather than a get a big drop and make money quick style. But then you got to factor in the fact that the keys are gonna be screwing you over that whole time. Like you're never gonna go to the boss and then just get a drop and get rich quick. Like you kind of can do at Legios. You gotta sit there at the boss and just camp there and grind it, similar to how you get the staff of Armadyl from Glaciers. It's quite similar to that. You just gotta grind it out. Like you're eventually gonna get it, but there's no real way to make a ton of money at the boss, which is kind of weird because you're paying money to kill the boss constantly. Like the keys were like 1.5 mil, quite stable before the update came out, and even after the update for a little while they were around that price. I think at this point they're around anywhere from 700 to 900k as far as I know, and the average drop from the boss is around 100k, maybe even less than that if you factor in the rarities, or like how often you get each drop. But it's anywhere from like 75k to like 130k. Like that's the average drop that you'll get from this boss. And when you're paying 1.5 mil for a key, and then on top of that you do spend some supplies with overloads, as well as some supplies with your regular potions and food, you're losing quite a bit of freaking money killing this boss. So if you're ever going to get that drop, it better be a big payout in the end and make up from all that you were doing and then some, because you are losing quite a bit of money to kill the boss, and then you're basically wasting your time if you don't end up making money, because you're just it takes effort obviously to kill the boss as well. You could be doing something else to make some good money. In just my opinion, I think the key system is really not a good thing for this boss at all, because of the way the drops work and the way it's more of a constant grind to get the drop rather than like a luck-based thing. So I really wish they hadn't done the keys here, or hadn't done the consistent style of the drops, but they did end up going for that. It does, of course, have a boss pet, 1 out of 1,000 with a threshold of 200, which is quite low for such a short fight. So that's pretty good, I guess, for those who are boss pet hunters. You don't really have to do too many kills to have a decent chance of getting its pet. But yeah, regardless of all of that, I just think that they could have used some different mechanics. Like the mechanics of the boss are quite nice, but the fact that it has the mechanics and then it's also a DPS race, but then you also are paying a lot of money, so you kind of don't want to even kill it fast because you're losing money, just in general doesn't seem that great. And then so obviously the things that the boss drops are going to be making the tier 92 dual wield melee weapons, and they're obviously going to be competing with things like Telos in order to be worth anything. Like if you want them to be worth anything, they're going to have to be compared instantly to the Zeros Godsword, and the Zeros Godsword is just going to be more useful in almost every situation I can think of. So I can't see this dual wield set being more expensive than the Zeros Godsword at all, ever. So I really don't think that it will ever be more than that. I think the Zeros Godsword is currently floating around a bill. So when you take that into consideration, there is no way that these are ever going to be over 500 mil each unless you sell like the first one in game. And so that is the problem that you're facing, because as some people's calculations have done, it's going to take anywhere from like 600 or 700 to up to even 1,000 kills to get one weapon, and you got to take that into account. Like it's only half of the set, so the two weapons are probably going to be the same price like Ascensions are, but they're definitely not going to be more than like 400 mil each, I would say, at this current stage when you're comparing it to the ZGS. And in the end, it's not going to be probably worth it, especially if you pay a ton for the keys, depending on how lucky you end up getting, especially when you're smashing the urns. Like, getting the urns themselves isn't that much luck-based because they're pretty common as far as I know. But the big problem is that you are going to have to get lucky on the smashing of the urns. Like, if you get like 5 urns in in like 20 or however many kills. I don't know the drop rate. Like, say you get 5 urns and 50 kills, like a 1 out of 10 drop rate. You are gonna you could get from 10 all the way up to 125 scraps, which is crazy. It's a crazy range, and the RNG on those is going to really affect how much you're able to make or how much you end up losing when you do finally make the weapon. So honestly, I think the system needs to change if anyone's going to really want to do the boss that much, because as it stands, it's just not worth it because of the fact that you're never going to get a big drop to recoup a lot of your loss. You're just going to have to grind it out until you do get the weapon. But yeah, and then when you compare it with Telos, obviously it's easier than Telos, and I'd say it's a more accessible and approachable in terms of killing it, but you do need the high Slayer requirement. But a lot of people do actually have that, of course, so it's not massively hard for people to get this weapon, and a lot more people are going to be doing this boss than are doing Telos for the weapons, as far as I can tell, and that's just going to push the price down more on the dual wield set. So just honestly, I wouldn't do the boss if I were you. If you can, I wouldn't do it until prices at least settle down and you're aware of how much the dual wield set is, as well as how much you're going to be able to afford in terms of investment. Because if you need to invest, like if you don't have the biggest bank, you might need to invest like 400 or 500 mil into keys before you can cash out on selling that weapon. So it is really a big investment if you're going for the weapon early on. And I don't know. That's just my opinion, you guys. All in all, I'd say this is probably one of the best updates to come out in the last few months, despite the fact that I feel like there were some blunders on the way the boss mechanics work in tandem with, or the drop mechanics work in tandem with the key mechanic. I feel like they could definitely be changed, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. I always like to see new bosses in the game, but really wish they wouldn't have gone with the key mechanic, and this drop mechanic is just quite weird. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. Oh yeah, one more thing. The gloves of passage are another drop that the boss drops. I saw someone, I think, sold them for 50 mil or something like that on Reddit, so they're not anything too amazing. They're tier 85 melee power gloves dropped by the Magister, and they have the special effect of making the Havoc ability allow the next ability to deal 7% increased damage. So it's going to be interesting to see how much that actually increases your DPS, but they really are nothing compared to Nightmare gloves for ranged. They're not like going to be as good as those at all, but it's going to be interesting to see if they're any better than Razorback gauntlets for being melee best in slot. People are going to have to do some testing and stuff, I guess, or maybe just do the math, see how much of a DPS increase that actually is when you have a 7% damage bonus on your Havoc ability, or no, the ability following Havoc. But yeah, I've basically made no progress on the quest in this video because I've just been, I don't know, I kind of find it hard to talk and do the quest at the same time. So my bad on that if you were actually trying to see that. I don't know, but I just did want to talk about the update in this one. I do like to go and do the update or try it out myself during these vlogs, but this one I just is one thing that I'm unable to do, so unfortunately I can't show it off to you guys. But please let me know what you think of the update in the comments. Have you been killing the boss? Are you in the same boat as me, as you think it's probably not worth it at this point with the price of keys and everything being what they are? Just kind of wish this mechanics of the drops were different or something. That would have been, then it would have been a great update, but meh. We'll have to end up seeing how the prices shake out in the end, and that'll definitely determine how good the boss is at that point. But either way, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I will probably be releasing another vlog in the near future regarding my progress towards Maxcape, I guess. See you guys in the next one. Peace.